Right to this, a suggestion via a channel member. Let's go ahead and jump into it, guys.
It's time for Lefties Losing It, and let's start at the very bottom, rock bottom, and let's work our way up. Let's delve deep into the gutter to find the sort of vile lefty that is beneath contempt, the sort of person who thinks it's fun to mock a grieving widow. Just imagine how soulless and desperate for attention one must be to do this.
Let's hear it.
That young man, I forgive him.
Yep, that was the miserable former Fairfax columnist Clementine Ford, as she not only mocked Erica Kirk, but also shared these callous and frankly batshit crazy comments for young men mourning the loss of a great man.
Let's hear this
nonsense. His most ferocious male fans are so fucking gay for him. They're all crying out of their penises.
I've noticed that whenever these type of people, like these uber modern woman feminist type of things with the purple hair or the pink, whatever this is, guys, we're encountering, whoever this person is, I've noticed that whenever they, like, even though they push like a very specific ideology, they push it, right? They're the main promoters of it, let's say nationally, right? It seems like they utilize it as a insult when it is advantageous for them to do so. It's intriguing, guys, to encounter the hypocrisy of the modern, whatever this is.
Fucking gay for him. They're all crying out of their penises in my messages. You're so mean. You're a fucking fat. You have no morals. Charlie's dead.
Is she married?
It's the modern left for you. They are as toxic and thick in Australia as they are in the US and the UK.
Yeah, they may be worse in Australia.
Now let's go to the US and hear from another scrote. This one sounds demonic.
Scrote.
Hey MAGA, how bad does it hurt? The Jimmy Kimmel's back, but you guys can't get your person back.
And guess who that is? That is Shelby Campbell, a Democrat candidate for Congress in Michigan.
Okay.
No, really, she is.
Hi, Michiganders, specifically Detroiters. Do you guys care that Charlie Kirk has passed away? Yeah, I didn't think so because my district is primarily black people. And Charlie Kirk said awful things about black people.
Wow.
So, no, I think my district will like me because I advocate for them as a white person.
Listen, when you get to I'm going to keep stopping here. I'm going to lay off the space bar here, but there's a lot happening because there's a lot of people talking, right? But here's the thing here. You have to understand, there are multiple cultures that live within the United States of America. Some of them just so happen to have a higher stat in terms of criminality. It is what it is here, guys. Like, I'm aware of it. It doesn't offend me. It is what it is here, guys, right? So if you're going to go and point out specifically that one small specific truth of things, then I don't really see how that is the disrespectful element that you're actually having here, guys, okay? If you do not want to be spoken about in a terrible manner, maybe you shouldn't act at times in a terrible manner. Obviously, not all. I'm black, all right? But I do understand fully the community that I'm occasionally within, guys, all right? I understand it here. It is what it is.
So,
let's go.
Charlie Kirk did not say terrible things about black people, and she must have a very low opinion of black people if she thinks they support that sort of ugliness. Now, let's check in on the body positivity movement. One of their biggest, excuse the pun, activists is Tess Holliday, who is taking a stand.
Who's that?
She is blocking family and friends, anyone who does not subscribe to her worldview.
That's normal, though.
I literally blocked my brother yesterday. I'm not speaking to my mom, my stepmom,
Who is this person?
my dad. I'm collecting them like Pokemon. I'm like, who can I block next? And it stinks, but I just think that you have to stand for something. And I think as you get older or mature, and I feel...
I was about to be super wild. Never mind. Does it stand for something? Okay.
You have to stand for something, and I think as you get older or mature, and I feel like you guys are already far more mature than I was at your age, you have to stand for what matters to you. And when you see things happening, you have to say something, in my opinion. And I understand that there's like safety concerns, and I have a lot of privilege as a cis white woman saying those things.
Look, I'm just happy the Ozempic Dodger is taking a stand, because standing will involve some movement. And
see, listen, I didn't want to say nothing. I didn't want to say anything. She said it.
anything that gets her moving, I think, can only be a positive. Now to tennis
Like,
legend
whatever that person
Serena
represents
Williams,
is terrible,
who decided
guys.
that she was bored with her vast wealth, her charmed life. She was going to find some way to play the victim. Even in the luxurious surrounds of a New York City hotel, she somehow found a way. Bravo, Serena, bravo.
All right, everyone, how do we feel
Cotton
about
plant decoration?
cotton as decoration?
Looks soft.
Personally, for me, it doesn't feel great.
Okay.
Actually, it feels like nail polishing for cotton, natural.
Okay. What's the problem?
Imagine being so triggered by a cotton plant when you make millions every year from flogging Nike garments, you know, the ones made out of cotton. But we're supposed to be alarmed because at some point in history, slaves picked cotton, and Serena carries some sort of generational trauma, and the mere sight of cotton sees her posting stupid videos on the internet. If Serena is that bothered by slavery, perhaps she can check out the conditions at some of those Nike factories that keep getting such bad press. Now to run off this all-female edition of Lefties Losing It, and yes, that includes Gavin Newsom, who's coming up. He's an
that makes
honorary
sense.
banshee tonight.
Right,
Let's
makes sense.
hear from Kamala. Listen to this and ponder for a moment. What would have become of America? What would have become of the free world if she was president?
Let's hear this nonsense.
Invariably, somebody would want me to take a picture or to hug their child. And someone in the back would hand that baby over through the crowd
Up to
of
you.
people who would
Bless the
hold and
baby.
care but pass the baby
See,
and then pass the baby back.
pass the baby back.
And I don't know, there was something about that when it would happen.
You know, it tells me a lot when the Democrats specifically try to say that they're not like anti-men, right? They want to make all these excuses why, you know, men, we don't want men to go away. We just don't care about their opinions unless they agree with us, right? That type of thing. But then yet you refuse to go to do a podcast with Joe Rogan, right? That has a gigantic quantity of like hyper masculine men in general, and then yet you proceed to do one with him. It tells me you're like what you were going for in the first place was not, you know, was kind of exactly what I think many people that have left the left recently has been saying. You're allowing like specific groups to completely dominate the party, and then you wonder why the ones who don't adhere to any of these ideologies specifically have run for their lives from the party.
What can you even say? It's
Nothing.
Terrifying. But we must not dismiss Kamala as some sad joke, some word salad clown, because she's also dangerous. Listen to her here engage in some inflammatory rhetoric at the worst possible time.
Let's hear it.
At a time such as this, it demands one thing for sure. We must fight fire with fire.
Now let's hear another example of Democrats engaging in reckless rhetoric, particularly knowing how unstable and prone to violence their supporter base can be.
The left and
Here
right
is
are both saying the
California
same
Governor Gavin
thing
Newsom,
like that,
the man
just
who
different.
wants to fail his way up to the White House. Here he is with Stephen Colbert demonizing ICE agents who are just doing their jobs.
Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic. If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country.
Jesus Christ. Listen, I understand the concept of a masked law enforcement agent. I'm not a super fan of it. All right, let's just start right there. But in the context of this here, you're specifically talking about ICE agents, all right? You're talking about the ones who your side is basically blasting all over the internet so they can find information and their families can be targeted. You're specifically telling them to unmask. You've already created like local statutes and somewhat policies and in quotations laws for your state to attempt to govern law enforcement agents, not fully understanding ICE is a federal agency and you have no say on what they do. All right, so it's not like you can walk up to an ICE agent and say, "Take your mask off. It's illegal." They don't work for you, bro. Right? Like they don't work for you. And I'm glad that they're not actually doing it because, again, the left is currently looking for as much information as humanly possible so the information can be doxed. That's what they're doing. But okay, Gavin Newsom.
You know, the man who imposed pointless mask mandates on Californians during COVID
Very
suddenly
pointless.
seems very triggered by masks being worn to protect the identity of ICE
Very
agents from the
pointless.
left's violent, radicalised activists. Gavin doesn't seem to get that.
ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
A few days after those comments, an anti-ICE gunman, Joshua Jahn, launched a deadly attack on an ICE field office in Dallas. The FBI revealed this lunatic had expressed a desire to instill terror in ICE agents, but in his botched attack, he managed to only kill and injure detained migrants. Let's bring in documentary filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, Democrats love to lecture everyone about turning down the temperature, but they continue to paint their political opponents as fascists. And got another example here, Gavin Newsom's official press office
They
posting
can't control
this, saying
themselves.
Stephen Miller is a fascist in all capitals. But it's just tantamount to incitement, isn't it, Ami?
Look, Chris Murphy, who is a professional idiot and is cosplaying as a congressperson, specifically said that that kind of language is not incitement because they're focusing on the definitional language of incitement is a legal definition, and they're trying to say it hasn't reached that legal definition which you can be jailed for. We're not talking
it
about
hasn't.
that. We're talking about what does
planting the seeds.
one's rhetoric directly lead to. I don't know what you expect when you see all of this leftist violence this year, when you've spent the last year talking about Donald Trump, his policies, as a fascist, as a Nazi, as the man who will steal democracy from you. What do you expect people to do? And by the way, I want to make one other point. I've said this in the past, I'll say this again. All of this, by the way, is going to pale in comparison to what the future terrorism is going to be, which is eco-terrorism. We've seen shades of it before, and these permission structures are already in place to allow for it. It's going to blow all terrorism away, pun intended, when that becomes the mainstream focus of terrorism.
Now, talking about Gavin Newsom there, his failures haven't stopped him from being a front runner to be the Democrats' next presidential candidate.
No, because they love him.
He failed as San Francisco mayor. He's failed as California
Doesn't
governor.
matter.
But he really doesn't face too much opposition. In fact, this is his major competition.
A tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump.
Yeah, okay, we're going to end this, guys. Listen, Gavin Newsom under no circumstance should be able to run for any type of actual leadership nationwide, federally. I think that he would turn the United States of America into the failed state California. I don't think that's a great thing for our actual democracy. For our actual constitution, because again, we're talking about a party, a group of people who seem to kind of go through the world exclusively off of whatever makes them feel good, seems to be what they are basically going to promote rather than the actual logical end of things. They seem to be anti-logic many times here, guys. All right, that's just kind of how things are, it feels. Again, I'm not a super fan of Gavin Newsom or Karen Bass specifically, guys, because again, these are basically the same people. And very different, but the same exact ideology, and that's kind of what they want. They want groupthink. They tend to say everyone else is one of these ists, let's say, but in all actuality, who are the ones who are generally acting like what they're saying? Right? Oh, you think differently than me. How dare you step out of line and have a different, thought process than me? So yeah, we have to go ahead and end your existence. That's kind of the the thing. That's kind of how it sounds, at least outside looking in here, guys. All right. But all right, listen, guys. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, I will catch you guys later.